welcome today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and there's so much going on in the city. It has been like such a crazy weekend. Everywhere I drove, I saw people outside doing things and cleanups and things. It was great. So of course, we're going to talk with Mayor Scott Galvin, and we have some wonderful guests who are going to talk about some other things that are happening in the community. So I'm looking forward to digging in. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Samantha.
So you got a little sunburn going on.
Yeah, I got back to back, that shredded, I got a little burnt, and then at the Boys Club road race too. So it was a good weekend. And I saw you out too. We were at one of the same functions.
We were at the social concern fundraiser auction, which I manage. I walked in saying, I'm going to give a certain amount of money to the raffles, but I'm not going to participate in the live auction. Like I told myself I wasn't going to do it. And I stepped away and I couldn't help myself. So
what did you end up with?
So I ended up with a hotel dinner package in Gloucester, which I'm actually going to give to the friend at the table that I was competing with and arguing over the price. So I think I'm going to share it with her. It was more for supporting the food pantry, but it was a super fun
definitely,
evening. It was so great to see so many people come out and so many people support what's a really great resource.
It was a nice night.
Yeah, that was awesome. I have a couple things I wanted to chat with you about. There have been, I would say, a normal amount, but because it's spring and we're getting closer to summer, it feels like an escalation, but I think it's sort of the same conversations we have all the time around young teens on playgrounds, not necessarily playing nice with the little kids at those playgrounds and such. And, we hear this periodically all the time. And I think there's a normal process for Woburn Rec actually came out and checked a playground because there was some damage to one. They came out right away. Our police are available for things that escalate and needs to be addressed. But one of the things that it reminded me of is there aren't a lot of places in our city for teens or preteens to go hang out that are appropriate for them, so that if they're doing the things that preteens do, right, and they're getting fresh and they're using language that we don't around toddlers, there's not a lot of alternatives. And so I'm curious, as we're planning some of the new open spaces and things that we're thinking about, if that's a community we might be able to do more with and for.
Yeah, it's a good point, Samantha. I mean, I think it's kind of been like this for a long time. And I know you're not, you're not in any way defending the behavior, but it's been like this. It's been like this for a long time. I mean, one of the things
I raised 4 children.
I know.
I'm well aware of the.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that sometimes you can't make excuses for, kids who are, we've had issues at the library where kids go in there and they, it's some of them are unruly, and it's not, you can't defend them. Sometimes they need the discipline, but there is discussions about, they have been, and we'd like to get to there. And I know the recreation's really interested in doing a skateboard park. That's not going to, again, that's, not everybody's interested in that. It's just it is another outlet for, teens who don't particularly want to play basketball or baseball or, anything else. They like that activity. That's where we're looking at some point to get. And I hate to keep saying we're looking, because it would be nice to have. We're just looking for a site, and recreation, we have pointed to the area down, but by Library Field, which might be a nice spot to go at.
Yeah, and you're completely right. We separate inappropriate behavior that is unruly and needs discipline, that needs to be addressed. I think, over the weekend, people taking bolts out of playground equipment, not okay, right? That's not I need another place to hang out. That's just bad behavior that needs to be addressed, and the right authorities, I'm sure, will take care of that. But it reminded me that there are times when, kids just need a place to hang out. I'm fortunate, I have a yard, and, so we could be a place that friends can come hang out near, but not everybody has a yard and a private space to do that. So it's great to see the city thinking about things like state parks or other recreation options. So awesome. A couple little things. I saw that Eversource is going to be doing some work on Horn Pond to replace some of the poles. It looked like they were going to transition some from wood to steel. Not that critical, but it seems whenever work happens up there, people have questions, what's going on? So I thought we would just mention it so people knew when they start to see construction equipment, what was happening.
Yeah, and Eversource has been doing quite a bit of work up there, and some of it, it's, when you walk up there, it's it's definitely shocking to say the least when they do a clear cut. And, you know, I always question the need for that type of clear cut, but it does go back pretty quickly. But you know, we get calls here, and I agree with people. It's like, I don't know why Eversource has to clear cut all that, particularly, you know, when it's nice that they cover some of their operations, you know.
Yeah, it's nice not to have to look at all the poles and wires and things for sure. You mentioned this earlier, but this weekend was the first time that I mentally saw the wonderful veterans banners that are around the city center and such. That was just such a nice addition. And you mentioned where to look at the list so you can see if there's a loved one or someone you know that you want to look up. Remind us where that is.
You know what? We haven't. We're going to have to get that back up, Samantha. I don't have it, but we will get the list and put it on the city's website. I'll make sure I get it to Bob Davis. He's the veterans agent, and he can put it on his section of the website. I forgot about that. We'll definitely get that.
Perfect. Yeah, it's such a great opportunity to see the people who have served our community and through military service and such, and had made an ultimate sacrifice. So it was a nice way to bring to life the memorials we have in Woburn Center, where we see names, but we don't see faces. And so it was lovely to see the different photographs of people.
They'll be up till Memorial Day. So if people, you know, I know it's nice, like you said, for people to, you know, get down there and see their families and you know, see that they're being recognized and acknowledged.
Excellent. The last thing that I wanted to mention was I saw the street sweepers have started, which is a sure sign that we're going to get no more snow. It's not allowed. That's it. It's time to start cleaning up. And I know that there's a schedule on the city website for anyone who's curious if they are worried about where they park their car or anything and wants to make sure there's a schedule posted there for folks.
It's on the DPW's website under the construction part. So if you go to the city's website and then head to the DPW, you'll be able to find it. But generally what they like to do, Samantha, is if they started, they try to, you know, equity, if they started in Ward 7 last year, they'll start in another ward and try to get around. But it takes them a couple months to do the first big sweep. And then after that, you know, they're on demand. You know, if you felt like there wasn't quite done or they missed something, call and the DPW will get over there and get it done.
Awesome. Anything else that you wanted to chat about before we let you go?
No, again, you know, the weekends are starting to pick up, and I know this week for the first time, and I think this is probably 2 years off. Conservation is doing their conservation day. That's the big cleanup down the pond, and any volunteers are welcome. And then usually the Lions Club finishes off with a nice a cookout at Lions Park, which is on the backside. So, you know, if you're looking for something to do on Saturday, 9 to 1 down at meet at Cove Street, that's down by the you know, pumping station. You sign up, and particularly younger kids, Samantha, they can get some yes hours and credit for volunteering. So it's a nice day, and hopefully we have good weather, but that's always a good crowd.
That's awesome. And Mother's Day is coming around this weekend. So if you haven't prepared, I'm warning you now, go buy your loved one or the people who are mother-like in your life and need a little recognition. I know Nana Betts gives away an ice cream, and that is always on my to-do list.
That's great. Yeah, they do. Nana Betts is really, really good. That's a good Woburn family who's, you know, very, very generous and just good people. So it's a good place to go.
Yeah, it's always good. And all of you who are loyal watchers know I'm addicted to ice cream. So thanks for joining us, Scott.
Okay.
I appreciate
See you, Samantha.
Mary, I'm thrilled to have you join us. We're going to talk about another community activity that is just once again proves that Woburn jumps in and helps each other out. Couple of years ago, we had the pandemic at its height, and high school seniors were missing out on an awful lot of the things that high school seniors look forward to, proms, and we weren't sure what was even going to happen for graduation ceremonies. And someone started a Adopt a Senior program where we collected gift baskets as a way to just recognize that milestone. And we're doing it again, and it feels like maybe we have a little new tradition here in our city. Tell us about why we are, the response that you've been getting.
Right. So this was started during the pandemic, and this is our third annual Adopt a Senior. It's starting to become a tradition because I have a senior at the high school, and they are having all of their activities like prom, senior day, yearbook signing, prom, graduation. But a few of us felt like that they still deserved a little bit of recognition for all the achievements that they have done. And they were part of the pandemic for a couple of years, so they did miss out on a few things.
Mary, I know there's a ton of work that happens to coordinate an effort like this. Tell us about the team of parents who have been behind the scenes helping bring this together for our community.
Okay, so it was a group of moms, me, a woman named Tina Pacina, and Sarah Oliveria. The three of us coordinated a Facebook page for all the seniors to be listed and people to adopt them. Out of 367 students, 320 were adopted individually. And then we had cash donations, which were able to fill our last 47 students, which was like unbelievable. We have 367 students in Woburn that are seniors that were adopted.
That is such a wonderful testament to our community, and thank you for organizing it and all the volunteers who adopt folks. My youngest was a senior the very first year, and what a wonderful surprise, generous gift for someone that we stay in touch with. We didn't know, they didn't know him, and it was just such a lovely gift. And I love that it includes all seniors, regardless if they go to Woburn High or any of the other schools in the area. For those folks who have participated in the program and are needing to drop off their baskets, I know there's a drop-off location. Tell us how they should get them to their seniors.
Okay, so if you don't know your senior's address, you can drop it off the week of prom, which is the week of like May 26th. But if you don't know your senior or you don't know where they live, they can drop off at the Kennedy Middle School on May 29th. It's a Saturday. You can drop off between 9 and 11, and the seniors are going to be there between 12 and 3 to pick up. Also, we are looking for some volunteers to help us with the drop off and the pickups. So if anybody is available, even for an hour between the hours of 9 and 3 to just come to the Kennedy Middle School. And also, if you cannot drop your basket off that day or get it in contact with your senior, you can always send me a private message on Facebook and I can meet up with you, or you can drop it off at my house, or I teach at the Reeve School. You could always drop it off there as well.
Fantastic. Thank you to everyone who helped organize and everyone who volunteered to help support these high school seniors. It's just a lovely little extra thing we as a community do. Thanks for joining me, Mary. Appreciate it. Next up, we're going to talk about another way that our community helps each other in a very different way. We're going to talk about fostering children who could use some extra love and attention in a place, in a loving environment. And we couldn't have two better guests to do that. If you have ever looked into foster care in Woburn or considered doing it, you know Karen Manna, because Karen is amazing and such a wonderful ambassador to the community and answers all the questions that everybody has. And I'm thrilled for Karen to join me. And with her is one of the parent recruiters, Nancy Martinez, who's also super knowledgeable and going to answer all of the common questions about foster care. Thank you both for joining us.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
So I thought we could start our conversation, Karen. You are just such a wonderful inspiration to so many people in our community. I'm curious to go back in time and think about what inspired you to be a foster parent the first time this happened. How did it come to be?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for inviting us to be on today. May is National Foster Care Awareness Month. It's lighted up light blue. So we are so happy to be here to spread the word and the need for foster care. And our Cambridge Burlington office services Cambridge, Somerville, Wilmington, Winchester, Burlington, and Woburn. So what made us want to become foster parents? I think growing up, our house as a child was always the go-to house for family and extended family and friends and kids. The door was always open. The light was always on. My mother was always there for anyone who needed a cup of coffee and a hug, or a hot meal, or a place to stay. So there were always people coming and going in our house, and she would just tell us, set another place at the table. And my husband grew up in that same environment. So for us, it just seemed like a natural progression.
It's such a wonderful place for people like yourself and your mother in the world. It's really lucky that people have those folks to lean into. Nancy, I wanted to talk a little bit about the scope of the need around foster care. Tell us a little bit about how many children are in the foster care system at any given time. And I know, every day it might change, but there's some general data and trends.
Yeah, sure. And I just wanted to say that I can never get sick of, like the testimony that Karen gives. We have information sessions once a month, right? And we have them virtually, and we hear her testimony all the time. And it's so nice, you every time she tells it, it just brings something really nice in my heart. When you talk about, the number of kids, I know that for the area office that Karen covers, right now, the average is 65 kids in foster care for that specific office. I do have to tell you that, in the state of Massachusetts, there are thousands of kids that are in foster care right now.
Such an incredible need. Karen, for folks who have been thinking about wanting to become a foster parent, I know it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like this huge, wonderful thing to do, but also a huge, wonderful thing to do. What advice do you give for folks who are thinking about this and how to help come to a decision for them and their family?
I think what I'd like to say to everybody is just don't think about it. Just jump in with both feet and just do it. We all say that someday I want to do this, or someday I want to go there. Well, our somedays, as you know, are limited, and you can help now. So my husband and I actually started a little bit later in life. It was always something that we wanted to do, but we were waiting until we got our ducks in a row. But as you mature, you realize that your ducks are never in a row. Life happens and it blows those little ducks right out of the water. So fostering is just a choice, and anyone can choose to do it. It's not a lifetime commitment. You can stop at any time, whatever works for you. We've been fostering for 20 years, and I hope we can still go on for as long as we possibly can. So just do it.
I love that. You have fallen extra in love. I know you love all the people who come through, but you fall extra in love and have adopted some of the children through that you had fostered. Tell us about a little bit about some of your favorite memories of those experiences.
Well, over 20 years, we've had so many amazing memories, but I think the fondest memories are the individual days that our girls were adopted. They were very, very special. And the process can be arduous. It's an emotional roller coaster. Each case is different, but the end result was remarkably the same. And when the judges banged that gavel and announced to the courtroom that the girls were officially a Manna, we were just jumping for joy. And we didn't set out as foster parents with the intention of adopting. It was just destiny, karma, divine intervention, however you want to put it. But we have been blessed. A funny memory I have is we had a little 3-year-old girl, and we were sitting snuggling on the couch reading a story, and she turned and she looked up at me, and she was just studying my face for the longest time. And finally she said, "Miss Karen," she said, "what are those lines all over your face?" And I chuckled and I said, "Well, each one of those lines represents a little boy or a little girl or a baby or a teenager that came to stay at our house." And she thought about it for a minute, and then she looked at me and she said, "You must have had 1 million kids." I just cracked up and I have held that memory in my heart. It's so funny, out of the mouths of babes.
I love that. That reminds me when my oldest was 3 years old, or 4 years old, somewhere in that range. It was my birthday, and I think Dad asked him, you know, how old do you think Mom is? And I was all the numbers he told me. So they have a way of making
They
us
do.
smile and facing our mortality. So that's fantastic. Nancy, I know there's lots of ways that families can get involved, right? So Karen told a story about helping lots of families, some of which she ended up adopting. What are some of the ways that families can get involved in the foster care system?
So, you know, there are many different ways. Obviously, there's a huge need of, you know, foster parents. But, you know, there are many different ways you can get involved, you know, as a respite foster parent, where what I mean by that is, you know, they would only take children that come in the middle of the night or on the weekends, you know, and those are, I think that's one of the things that Karen does, you know, the most. We also have the respite foster homes where, you know, if, for example, a foster parent wants to take a break and are not able to take a foster child with them, then, you know, a respite foster parent is able to step in and come in and take care of that child until the foster parents come back. And then also the long-term foster homes, Samantha, where, you know, it's a little bit longer. Children are there for a longer period of time, because one thing we have to remember is that even though the children are in foster care, we're still working with the parents, you know, hand in hand to make sure that they have the services that they need, so that the kids can go back home. And you know, obviously there's a huge need for all the ages. You know, we have ages from newborns all the way up to 21 years old. And you know, we always have like a huge need for the foster homes for our teens, and that's always in our hearts to promote. Yeah.
You know, one of the things I think is easy to forget is that if you choose to be a foster family and to help support in this way, that there are resources at DCF that help you through this process and that are there to support you, and you're not completely on your own. Tell us a little bit about the services and support that foster families receive.
Sure. So I'm actually going to pass this on to Karen, because she is the one that is living that. So Karen.
Sure. There are a multitude of supports for foster parents, but for me, I think one of the main resources is our foster parent support group. We meet monthly. Sometimes we meet in between if anybody needs it, because no one understands the challenges of a foster parent and the emotions that go along with it, but another foster parent. So together we can celebrate, we can share, we can commiserate, we cry, we comfort, we console, we calm one another, whatever is needed to help each other continue this journey. And for foster families, there are behavioral supports in place if foster families need it. And there are many, many financial resources. All kids in foster care have free access to mass health insurance. And through various organizations like Rise Above and the Wonder Fund, kids can receive sports equipment and bikes and scooters. They can have access to dance lessons and swim lessons and gymnastics. And there are always scholarships available for summer camps too, to help families out. So kids need to be able to have fun. Kids are kids. And they offer us so many opportunities to be able to continue just providing kids with fun.
You know, when you spoke earlier, Karen, you talked about you've been doing this for 20 years and you hope to be doing it for many, many more years. What keeps you involved?
The kids keep us involved, and the need for foster care. Through the pandemic, the need was so great, we didn't stop doing what we were doing. We took care of many COVID positive infants, foster kids, whether they're newborns or toddlers or school age or teens. They're simply good kids from hard places through no fault of their own. Adults have really let them down, and we all have a responsibility to help these kids out in any way we can. And when we watch a drug addicted baby withdraw, and which is horrific, and then turn the corner and achieve a medical milestone, it's a miracle to be part of that. And then even convincing a youth or a teen that they are worthy and they can achieve anything they inspire in life is a miracle. And we're so blessed to be part of that. So that's why we stay involved.
I love it. I hope a lot of people watching this are motivated to learn more and maybe get started on a foster care journey. Tell us, Nancy, how someone who is interested can get started. I know it, there's a process they go through. There's learning that they have to do so that they're prepared for the family and making sure that those who are in need get matched with people who are ready, willing, and able to support them in the ways that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyone can go, those that like to go on the internet, when you search the website mass.gov and you type foster care, it'll give you a different, all different kinds of information on how to get involved. And they will be in contact with you. You can always call the local DCF offices. So for example, I cover Lawrence, right? For example, and so anyone can call and say, how do I become a foster parent? And so that's how we get the inquiries. And of course, there are steps that you have to take in order to become a foster parent, but we walk you through every step of the way. We have virtual information sessions. We're actually doing a lot of events outside because, we're able to do that. So you'll see our flyers hopefully everywhere. Because we are really taking seriously this initiative to find foster homes. I know that there is a flyer that we want to share with you today where, if you want to join an information session, it'll tell you who to reach out. So we're pretty easily accessible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the information. And Karen, I think before we wrap up, you mentioned prior to us coming on the show that there's an event at the Woburn Public Library coming up.
There is. We're actually doing a daytime info session. Hopefully some moms can join us at the library on May 26th from 11 to noon. And we're doing that live in person, which is wonderful to be able to talk with people face to face. But again, like Nancy said, we have monthly virtual info sessions and we're all over the place right now. We're gonna be at the Juneteenth celebration in Woburn at the Burlington Public Library. So anyone can contact me for information. And if they're interested, I will put them in touch with our recruiter, Katie Knight or Nancy Martinez. And hopefully that this message gets out there and we can recruit some more foster parents for our kids.
Well, thank you both for joining me. This is clearly such a critical need in the community and a wonderful thing that people do who are able to help. I think, Karen, you said something really important, which is to not be afraid. It is work and it isn't always easy, but it sounds incredibly rewarding. And there are lots of ways that you can help and participate and put some parameters around that so that it works for you and your family, and not to be afraid of that. So thank you for joining us. And as always, Woburn, please continue to take good care of each other.